Kim, I'd like to ask you a few questions, please, about your website, womenforschapelle.org. Could you please explain what is Women for Schapelle?
Well, it's easy to start with what Women for Schapelle is not. Women for Schapelle isn't an organisation. We're not a hierarchy. There are no leaders. There's no particular line. It's just a network or a web of women who care about what's happened to Schapelle, that can see the gross injustice of what's happened to Schapelle. And we're just a network of women. We're all equal. We all have an equal say in this. And we're women that care. And we want to see Schapelle home.
And what was the idea behind it?
The idea behind it was, well, years ago I was at Greenham Common Women's Peace Camp. That was in England, and it was to stop the sighting of nuclear missiles on the common land. And it worked very, very well. It was very powerful, went on for years. And the inspiration for Women for Schapelle came from that experience, because the experience of activism with other women was just so powerful.
Can anyone join Women for Schapelle?
Absolutely. Any woman can join Women for Schapelle. There's no membership fees, there's no set of requirements. You just have to care about what happened to Schapelle and see the injustice of what's happened to her. Yes, anyone can join.
And how does it work?
We put pressure on the politicians. They care very much about the women's vote. The women's vote is very, very important to them. And most of the time we're nurturers and we're carers. We've got daughters and sisters and friends, and we understand what other women feel.
What sort of things can women do?
Well, first of all, women can tell other women that that they can explain what's happened to Schapelle and the injustice of what's happened to her, and they can talk to other women, as women always talk to other women. And we also understand very much how Schapelle's mother must feel. If we have daughters, we understand exactly what Schapelle's mum feels.
What is Fess Up Kev?
Fess up, Kev. Well, come on, Kev, we want you to fess up. You know that Schapelle's not guilty. You know the gross injustice of this. You know that every single frame of CCT went missing. You know that the marijuana wasn't tested for either fingerprints or DNA. You know that the Australian police never investigated either the supply or the export of marijuana. You know that the cop that was running the drugs operation at Sydney Airport the same hour and the same terminal that Schapelle flew from. You know, Kevin, that policeman is now in jail on remand and facing charges of trying to import $120 million worth of drugs into this country. You know that, Kev, so please fess up, Kev.
So fessing up is answering all your questions?
Absolutely, answer the questions, Kev, but so far Kev is running away from all the questions.
What is the marginal campaign?
Well, politicians care very, very much about votes, and the most significant votes to the politicians come from their marginal seats. So these are the seats that decide the outcomes of elections. These are the seats that swing from one party to the other. So the Marginals campaign is a way of getting the politicians' attention in exactly the right spot.
How can women get involved in these projects?
Well, join Facebook. There's Women for Schapelle on Facebook, so that's the way that we can network with each other, support each other on Facebook, and write to your local politicians, write to Kevin Rudd and to Julia Gillard. Let them know that you're out there, and you never know, Kevin. Women camped at Greenham Common for many years. We could come and camp on your doorstep.
You are a psychiatric nurse, aren't you?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Can you describe what Schapelle's condition is?
Schapelle is a very, very sick girl at the moment. She's got a severe psychotic depression. She's at very high risk of suicide. She's at very high risk of harming herself. She's quite delusional. She's believing things that are untrue. She's probably hearing things that are untrue. She's quite out of touch with reality. If she was in this country, she'd be in hospital. She'd be having regular medication, supervised by qualified nurses and doctors. She'd probably have a nurse allocated to her 24 hours a day, at least for the first 2 or 3 weeks while she gets proper treatment, because she's at such high risk of suicide and such high risk of harming herself.
Is a condition really that desperate or urgent?
Oh, absolutely. People with Schapelle's condition kill themselves all the time, or end up with severe injuries because they're so out of touch with reality and so desperate that they can't bear to be alive. People with Schapelle's condition have done dreadful things to themselves, and she's walking a tightrope.
Why do you think the government are hiding from this issue?
The Australian government are hiding from this issue because there are too many unanswered questions, and they fear that once the truth comes out about Schapelle, all the truth about the corruption in the Australian police will also come out. They don't want the public to know those things. They don't want the public to know that Schapelle has been kept in prison to hide the wrongdoing within the Australian police force.